The Scream Kings are in no way responsible for any encounters with the paranormal, extraterrestrial abductions, eldritch insanity, hauntings, hexes, curses, demonic possessions, cryptozoological sightings, or any loss of sleep from listening to this podcast.
This is the Scream Kings podcast. I'm Nathaniel Darkish.
I'm NJ Gallegos.
On the first night, he sees her. On the second night, he podcasts.
Whoa.
Perfect.
Yeah, he'll have to edit that out.
No, I think the listeners just expect some sort of noise coming from you and or Max. Okay, well, we have a special guest today. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Chris Whitman. I go by Whitman because there's 3 Chris's per square block. Square foot, really. Anyway, I am a artist, horror creator, musician. I do a podcast as well with my friend Steve. It's called Horror Makes Us Happy, and you can find that at horrormakesushappy.com. It's kind of a psychological delve into what it is that makes people interested in horror, and we interview all kinds of people from horror actors, directors to writers like NJ. We've got a episode where we interviewed her. That was awesome.
Chaos. And we also realized I have some control issues. Oddly enough.
Yeah, that is not an uncommon conclusion at the end of some of our interviews. Control is a big one. It's kind of a big one for me too.
That's why we get along.
Yeah. But in addition to Horror Makes Us Happy, I also do a horror comic called Pieces. I'll get into that a little bit more in depth later, I guess. But you can find out more about that at piecesofflesh.com. And yeah, I do the horror podcast as well. We had you on the show. You said, hey, we also do a horror podcast. You invited me on here, and I am just thrilled to be here. It's awesome.
It's serendipity.
It is.
I love it. I know we're not really touching on it just yet, but Pieces was freaking awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to hear people enjoying my twisted, fucked up works. Oh.
Yeah, I kind of think it's...
Do we have a bleep?
No.
Or something? Or is curse words okay?
No, I'm not going to even attempt to edit all of those. That sounds like even worse of a time than I have, editing anyway. So
it would be.
No.
Yeah, Pieces was it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets Hellraiser meets Squidbillies from Cartoon Network. Adult Swim.
Perfect. I'm going to use that as an headline.
Have at it.
The Squidbilly Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah.
Squidbilly Hellraiser. Squidbilly Cenobite Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How about that?
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Has a nice ring to it, really, too.
Yeah.
Just rolls off the tongue.
So,
okay.
Chris, what would you say, how'd you get into horror? What's your story?
Yeah, the horror origin story. How did I get started?
Or origin, if you will.
Origin story, even. As the usual way, I just I witnessed a bloody murder when I was 5 years old, and then I became Batman. And wait, that's not the usual way. The usual way. No, just 80s horror movies. I am a child of the 80s, so I grew up during the heyday. Things like Hellraiser, Critters, the Friday the 13th saga. Funnily enough, not the Nightmare on Elm Street saga, because I actually grew up on Elm Street, so our mother would not let us watch those films, because she figured it would give us nightmares.
She's like, that's where I draw the line. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's where I draw the line. But, demons from hell doing S&M stuff and flaying people alive, that's fine. That's cool. But yeah, other than that, really got into it from, I've noticed in our podcast interviewing so many people, it's kind of a common thing all over the country. Everybody has their usual local broadcast show where they have a Saturday afternoon horror marathon. So I always had those, and that really hooked me in early at a young age.
The local equivalent of the Elvira Svengoolie whatever.
Yep.
Man, I didn't ever have one of those, or if I did, I just never watched it. But maybe that's just because Utah broadcasting is a little less spooky.
Yeah.
It's spooky in a different way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome. So, speaking of all right. So that's your origin story. Then what's some of your favorite horror media? Like, what are you drawn to the most?
Yes, that would probably be. I mean, there's so many to list off. I can't really name one in specific. I could probably come up with a list of about 10. But as far as like genre and type of media, I love cannibalism and cult stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Like, of course, your Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Cannibal Holocaust, The Woman, and more recent things. And then you've got I like dystopian cult stuff. Like, oh my god, the trailer for 28 Years Later just dropped, and I am here for every second of it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's good.
How do you like your steak? Assuming you eat meat. Do you go
As raw
rare?
as possible. Yes.
I do too. Nice. All right. I'm compiling a theory, so thank you.
I like a good Pittsburgh steak, blue on the outside. Or was it black and blue? Black on the outside, blue on the inside. That one.
Agreed.
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. That sounds awful. Well, so what has scared you the most? What's like the scariest movie, book, whatever that's really like gotten under your skin more than anything else?
Yeah, that one is not so much too many to list, but I don't want to sound like a horror snob or anything, but nothing really scares me much anymore because you see so many graphic things and things. I mean, the real life things scare me. Like, am I gonna have money for retirement when I become that age, or will I have my property pulled out from under me? But I guess that kind of also falls in line with this. If there's any kind of genre, it'd be like, I want to say Lovecraftian, but what's the more general term for it?
Cosmic
horror. Yes, cosmic horror and bleak, and just things that are out of your control, things that you have no say in. But I was thinking about this before the interview, and another thing that I came up with more specifically that's just always irked me to the point where I haven't even seen this movie. Buried. I think it's either Buried or Buried Alive with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Buried Alive. That's the big one for me. I would freak the hell out and lose my shit, and probably die sooner because I would use up all the air.
Yeah, I mean that's probably better, honestly.
I guess. Yeah.
Because there's no getting yourself free. There's no punching your way out.
No, you can't do the 1-inch punch like Uma.
Even if you could.
You just gotta hope they have the bell.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just not gonna quite work the way that you're hoping it will. It'll just kill you faster, probably. So with the cosmic and the bleak, is the mist just kind of peak spooky, upsetting to you?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, the concept, but some of the characters were, I don't know, almost like traditional and fun in a way.
Yeah.
As weird as that sounds. You've got the one woman who's like, I think she was a bit religious, and she's like, I'm gonna go see my kids. I don't care what you say, which, ironically, spoilers, she survived in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you have your asshole who doesn't want to listen to anyone, and he wants to leave, and just... Yeah, the characters kind of made it more of a niche comedy for me, I guess. But
yeah, I can see that. Though the end is...
The end, yeah. The end is very bleak.
So good.
It almost makes it more effective because the story is so... I don't want to say predictable, but it's familiar. All up to the end, and then it just punches you with that ending, like, oh... Okay.
Yeah. I heard that King said he wished that he had thought of that ending.
Yes, he did.
That wasn't in the original book.
Nope.
Huh.
Nope.
Wow.
It just
was
ends with
kind of
him
hopeful.
driving on, and yeah, it's kind of presumed that that they're eventually going to find help or something. But yeah, then he saw the movie and he was just like, oh,
Right.
holy crap!
It
Right,
is
Darabont, you crushed
quite
my soul.
Quite an artistic license and liberty to take with the ending of that. Just left turn.
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, if King says, that's better than my ending, holy crap, then,
Yeah.
you know.
That's praise from Caesar right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
From up on high. Okay, so tell us about pieces other than the, Squidbilly analogy.
It is, my elevator pitch for it would be a found family of leper cannibals that murder people to steal their body parts to replace theirs, while also trying to bring a demon god into this world. Yeah.
Oh, so just kind of like your typical rom-com, really.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, if I ever get made into a movie, I was thinking maybe Meg Ryan or
The Ryan Hanks combo.
yeah. And I guess the setting is it's set on underneath North Brother Island, actually, and that's kind of what got me interested in it. Like, it all stemmed from a couple thoughts. One, what about a family of cannibal murderers that are also lepers, so they have to replace body parts in addition to eating body parts? And two, I started getting into really, like, dystopian-looking abandoned places that have been taken over by nature, and I found North Brother Island. I was like, that perfect. So it's set in a secret bunker underneath that island where they live, and they go out from the island and kidnap and kill and eat people from New York City.
Nice.
I love your art too. Like, you're so intricate with a lot of the like anatomical stuff, and then the occult. So good. And
Thank you.
you do a very nice job of bringing humor into it, because I love my, cannibalistic horror with a nice splash of dark humor. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, you have to have a little bit of humor in there. I try not to have a single comic relief. I like to just have funny moments, so that way you don't have your Jar Jar character or anybody who's singled out as, like, the funny one. It's just, like, they all have funny moments.
One of my favorites was, I think this is Sid, the kid, whenever he gets abducted, and he's like, well, you're offering, kids candy from your van, and he's like, soda.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you got that. Yeah, it was like, if that were in a film, it'd be like a fun, quick back and forth. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what kind of camp counselor lures kids into his van with candy? Soda.
So good.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody, you should just go read it.
Yeah.
So where can people get their hands on this messed up masterpiece?
You can find it all at piecesofflesh.com, and it's got the whole story behind it. It's got like a page with all the characters on it, so you've got a quick bio about them, and then the comics itself. It's actually planned to ultimately be a 5, maybe 6 volume saga, and the original idea was a film. Like, I had an idea I was going to make a movie, and I met reality. But the film was set to be to take place in 2005, and the webcomic is kind of an origin story of each of the characters. So I've done Volume 1, which is the character Meat, and I'm currently working on Volume 2, which is 3 characters, the Snares. They're kind of a family within the found family of sorts, and that is the titular father figure Snare, the son/dog of the family Sid, and the daughter Lexa. And it's going to go Volume 2, Chapter 1 is Sid, and then Chapter 2 will be Lexa, and then the last third chapter will be Snare. So yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
What do you use? Like, how do you create that comic? Do you use like a web program? Like, do you draw on a tablet?
Yeah, I use a tablet in Photoshop.
Nice.
Well, everyone should definitely go check it out, especially if you have the stomach for it. So
It's a little gory. There's some red stuff in it.
yeah, just a splash here and there.
I recommend beef tartare while you read. That nice, rare, juicy.
Yeah, a little bit of au jus.
Yas.
Okay. Well, should we move on to our movie of the episode?
Sure.
Awesome. So the movie that you selected for us is Stopmotion from 2023, directed by Robert Morgan and written by Robert Morgan and Robin King. Do you mind giving us like a quick synopsis since you're the one who picked it?
Yeah, sure. It's a bit of a surreal story in parts. It's definitely got some surreal moments to it. It's about stop motion, but it's about a woman who has inherited a legacy of stop motion from her mother, who was like this world famous stop motion artist, and how she's just trying to make her own story, but she's kind of imprisoned by her mother to metaphorically, by the way. She's not like in the dungeon or anything, but she's imprisoned by her mother to work on her film first, and well, things take left turns, plural, multiple left turns.
Indeed. And as usual, we will get into all the spoilers and all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't watched it, we recommend checking it out and then coming back. But yeah, we're gonna dive right in. So I guess to kind of kick things off, what did you guys like about this movie? I have my thoughts, but yeah, I'll put it over to you two first.
Well, I'll start since one of the things I enjoyed quite a bit was the opening scene. I liked how it already just kind of throws you into this like surreal world that Chris was mentioning, and it shows our title character Ella at a club, and there's all these flashing strobe lights, and her expressions keep shifting with the change of the light. So she's smiling, she looks maniacal, she looks sad, and then there's little glimpses of like skeleton, monster, but you're like, did I actually see that? I don't know.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I watched it again just before the show today, and I watched it initially when it came out, and I noticed that too. Like, I remember seeing the flashing different colored lights on her face in the very first intro, but this time watching it again, I caught those. Like, is there a monster face in there somewhere? Did they sneak that in, or was it trick of the light? Who knows?
Yeah,
yeah.
And I mean, I like how kind of each flash is essentially like a frame in a stop motion thing that's really
right. That too.
Jerky
yeah, I caught
and
that.
weird.
It's like, I see what you did there. It's stop animation.
Yeah, with real life.
Yeah,
those tricky bastards.
All these layers of meaning, all the way from the beginning. So what do you guys think about like stop motion animation in general? Like, is this something that you're drawn to? Do you enjoy, stop motion stuff? Did you grow up watching any stop motion animation? Like, how familiar were you with it kind of before diving into this movie?
I think I'm gonna lose creds for this, but I never saw Clash of the Titans, so I'm not familiar with the old school. Or
Harryhausen.
Harry Hamlin.
Harryhausen.
Hausen.
Yeah, Harryhausen.
Damn it! I was gonna do a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reference, but fine.
But yeah, that one I missed that one. No, but Tool music videos were probably one of the first examples of stop animation I saw, and I was like, "This is freaking cool!" It's kind of on the same light as the movie, because it was gross and flesh stuff.
For sure.
I'm gonna lose even more cool points. My familiarity with stop motion animation is like those Christmas movies, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I forgot about those. I mean, we all saw those when we were a kid.
Those were great. I love those, actually.
Go back to them and you'll see that they're maybe not that great.
Yeah.
Herbie wants to be a dentist. He has goals.
Herbie is a weenie and should die.
Oh, wow.
And it's Hermie, actually.
Whatever. You know what? It doesn't matter. Because he's
I'm sorry.
lame.
Yeah, he's... My kids like that movie way too much, and I just like leave the room. I'm like, nope, cannot hear him singing about dentistry any more times.
Oh yeah, like I haven't seen this since I was a kid, but it's kind of coming back to me now. Was Hermie the father of the family?
No, he's like the crappy elf that like wants to be a dentist when all the other elves want to make toys.
Oh well, yeah, that's dumb. Why would you want to be a dentist when you're an elf?
He wants to help people, man.
It's counterintuitive. They live in a land of candy. You can't be a dentist.
And also, it doesn't directly tell us this, but I think there's also a lot of meth use.
Oh.
So teeth are just falling out left and right. So maybe there's a market for it, but
Yeah, okay, yeah. When you put it in that light, maybe.
That explains why they like are up 24/7 making toys. So
exactly, I have figured it out. I cracked the code.
they're kind of like the Nazis with their like blitzkrieg, except making toys.
Little elves chewing meth gum. Yum, yum, yum.
Yeah,
I make toy trains.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't anticipate it going this direction, but I'm delighting in this. So, in any other like major touchstones of stop animation for you, NJ, or just those?
Nope, just Hermie or Herbie or whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah.
Oh man, see, I grew up like watching Wallace and Gromit.
Okay.
So, highly recommend if you haven't seen those. They're all freaking delightful. Especially the shorts. But yeah, so I mean, like I loved stop motion animation, like, you know, my whole life. You know, Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run, you know, Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, anything that is getting put out by Laika Studios. Kind of more recently, I'm just obsessed with. I think stop motion is amazing. I don't have remotely anywhere near the patience it would take to do it, but I have a tremendous appreciation for it, and especially like really weird, ambitious things that they're doing with stop motion now is just so cool. Like, you want a cool movie? Watch Kubo and the Two Strings. Not horror at all, but there's some pretty creepy characters in it, at least. It's intense for kids, I'll say, but it's so brilliantly done. The art is gorgeous, and like to make the stop animation, that like there's like a 15-foot skeleton that they made.
Yeah, was this stop animation? I thought it was CGI.
Yeah, no, it's stop animation. It's incredible.
Wow.
Or like Paranorman, they have a bunch of ghosts that are like transparent, and so they had to basically film everything twice, exactly the same, and to create the ghost effect. It's super cool. So, I am kind of obsessed with stop animation, so it was really fun to dive into a movie that's dealing with that, because I just love stop animation. I think it's so cool and so interesting to watch how they do it. How much patience it takes, how much artistry it takes, and, you know, to make it look realistic. Like, the Harryhausen stuff is cool for what it did, but there's just something about like a really beautifully animated stop motion thing that just makes my brain buzz. And in this case, it's really, really upsetting, especially once we start getting, you know, meat and flesh combined with all of the clays and everything else that she uses to make her models for her film.
Yeah, even the clay was disturbing. It was Mortician's clay.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't use Sculpey like regular artists. I use dead people clay.
Yes. Gotta shape that face.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And unshape that face. Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Hachi machi. But yeah, so like, you know, seeing it in action and seeing it being used to kind of like really tap into that like uncanny valley, like visceral, like, hey, this is the kind of thing that nightmare fuel is made out of. I really enjoyed seeing applied to horror. So
yeah, and like you said, the process of it and how they delve into the actual, you know, making of stop animation behind it. I, of course, always one of the first things that come to mind is it's time consuming. It takes so long to do this, but they really put it in perspective with this film. With her, each frame is a millimeter. Like, it's that intricate and that detailed. Like, God, it must take months, maybe years. Look at the recent, what was it, Mad God that came out?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that man was working on that for 5-10 years.
Yeah. I need to watch that. I've just seen clips, and it's insane.
It is insane. Every bit of it.
You would need so much Adderall to be able to focus to do all this.
Or meth.
Or, I mean, it is just a form of meth.
You gotta have
technically.
steady hands, though, so,
True.
neither of those would work.
True.
Damn it. And
Yeah.
cocaine would definitely not work, so.
Nope. No, I think you just have to have what Ella had, which surprised me watching it a second time. I thought she did eat the LSD, but just plain insanity. No drugs necessary. Just
Yep.
just
You
straight
just have
crazy.
to go mentally insane, that's all.
Yeah.
Which aren't all artists, aren't we all?
Oh yeah. To different varying degrees, yes.
Yeah,
we
it's fine.
just lean into it. But yeah, so I love that it kind of shows how demanding, like, physically that is on people. You see that her mom can't do it anymore. Like, she and it says that she has arthritis, but like, I think I'm sure it was exacerbated by moving things a millimeter over and over and over again for years to make her masterpieces.
One thing I had a question about, she always, they wore the, like, smock, Ella and her mom would wear the smock. Is that, like, a green screen kind of thing? Or, like, is it just kind of like, all right, we're in uniform, we're gonna work on the project? Like, what was that?
I heard that too.
My best guess is that maybe it does a good job of not reflecting light to not throw off the lighting or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Alright.
just because it was like covering up most of the skin and stuff. That was my best guess. But I mean, I did sit there wondering the whole freaking movie, and like, could you just like have someone acknowledge what this is just for like half a second? Like, oh, nice dress, smock. What is that? And then it's like, oh, I wear this. Yeah.
I got it. It was a team uniform. See, they were getting ready to go to Stopmotion regionals,
Oh.
so they had to have matching uniforms.
You have to match.
Mhm.
I love it. Yes. All right. I buy it.
Oh, actually, we got one where, if we're discussing questions about it real quick, I'm just looking through pictures of it, remembering. What was up with the woods where she found the fox? Like, she's in this very urban-looking environment where she lives in a flat that's, like, so many stories up in a definitely egg crate urban building, and she can walk 2 blocks and be in the woods? What happened there?
That's a great question. I mean, maybe London is woodsier than we think. I don't know. I've never been there.
Yeah, same here. Maybe that's it. It's just London's patchwork like that.
Though
I've been to London, but I was
admit-
drunk a lot, so I don't remember a lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember
mean,
swans. A lot of swans.
oh, I mean, if there's swans, clearly there's going to be just foxes running amok.
Right. It does make sense.
I mean, yeah, I will say it seemed unlikely, but maybe not totally outside of the realm of possibility to have a fox in the middle of, a major metropolitan area.
Yeah, but it was in the woods. It kept bugging me. Like, I kept picturing this, apartment high rise just in the middle of the wilderness somewhere.
No,
Well, what
No,
if the
the-
woods
the-
don't actually exist? What about that?
I think that's really the real answer. I mean, a lot of it was surreal and a lot of it was in her head. So I think the woods may have just been a surreal placeholder, not real place.
but the fox was real because her boyfriend
Yeah.
mentioned it and stuff.
Yeah, the fox was real.
And also, how did she find it? Because the little girl was a figment of her imagination. So
Right?
how did she know to look for it?
Maybe we have a Tyler Durden scenario going on. When she's sleeping, the little girl's awake.
Maybe.
That could be. And that's one thing I also liked quite a bit. I picked up on that a little bit quicker than like The Sixth Sense, like, oh, he's dead. But I was like, oh, nobody's looking
Wait,
at the unnamed
wait, he's
girl.
dead?
No.
Spoilers!
It only came out in 2001. Get with the program or whatever it was. But yeah, whenever the unnamed girl was going down the stairs and Polly doesn't even look at her, doesn't acknowledge her, I was like, ah.
Yeah, I was pretty sure she wasn't real, like, after the second scene. Because, she just was a little too unhinged.
A little too familiar with Ella, too. Just like, oh, it works this way. Okay. And then she's, like, commanding her to do things, and Ella's just going along with it. Like, any rational adult would be like, kid, don't you have parents somewhere? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
When she crumpled up the apple box and then just threw it, I was like, oh, this little shit.
It's okay, because it's not a real apple box.
Ah.
Well,
Or
I can
is
forgive
the
it, I
little
suppose.
Not real, but there's an apple juice box just, like, floating around somewhere, and it crumpled itself.
The true horror of stop motion.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Admittedly, those kinds of things don't necessarily hold up to scrutiny quite as well as I would like.
Yeah. It's art.
Yeah. We just kind of have to go along with it. I will say, with kind of all of the acting, especially Ella and the little girl, I felt like the acting was really phenomenal.
It really was.
Got a lot of nuance there. There was a lot of subtlety in the way that they're expressing things. You could read a lot in their faces even when they weren't talking. Considering it's such a weird, surreal idea, they really delivered on making it real.
They really did. I mean, all of them really. Even, who was it, Polly, the boyfriend's sister?
Yeah. Ugh.
For being as terrible a character as she was, her acting was good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've all met a Polly and want to punch them.
Yes. Very punchable face.
Also, what was like... Okay, so the guy, Ella's boyfriend, like, manages this, like, kind of abandoned-ish building, right?
I guess, yeah, because he got her a room because she was, like, living with her mother, and then he moved her into a new place, right?
That's
I don't
kind
know
of
if
how
that
I
was-
interpreted it. I don't know.
I don't know if I don't think he was the manager. I think he just paid for the lease. I think this is him, being a sugar daddy.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
He couldn't have got somewhere nicer? I mean, my God.
I mean, with an opening right then in London, I think he just took what he could get.
He's a sweet and low daddy.
There we go. A splendid
Stevia. A stevia
There you go. I was
daddy.
trying to think of the other one. He's just stevia daddy.
Well, and also, was the party that Ella didn't end up taking the LSD at, was it in the same building as well? I was very confused.
I think that seemed like it was maybe at the same building where Tom worked, maybe? It was like a work party.
Maybe? I really didn't... I couldn't tell. But there's also a lot of weird artsy stuff, so... Yeah. I assumed that at one point, maybe they, like, all went to college at some sort of art school or something, and that's why, they all had these artsy lifestyles, even though, the boyfriend was, the pseudo musician, which I did love that she called him out on that.
Yeah. You don't make music.
Yeah, that was... I was like, ooh, she went there.
That was a deep cut. It was mean. But, it's not wrong.
No. I also kind of wish, like, I had artsy friends to go to a party like that and have, like, a weird, like, Slappy, the ventriloquist dummy talking to me. And like, it was just... What a vibe, man.
Right?
Please don't ever invite me to a party like that.
I've been to one here in Tampa where it was, like, local artists, and it was... I mean, thankfully, it was not like a pretentious, Andy Warhol party or anything like that, but it was kind of in the same vein. Like, it was a bunch of artists walking around, and they had their sculptures and things. I had a Warhammer robot that I made with a real skull, because I'm a nerd.
That's
Nice.
awesome. See? Doesn't that sound fun? Come on, Nathaniel. That sounds fun.
I mean, I would like to look at the art, but then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go sit in a corner now.
I mean, it's all about the company. The art's always going to be cool because it's art. But yeah, it is also about the company. You don't want to, hang out with posh people. They're all like, the meaning behind it is over your head. You wouldn't get it.
I'm going to sit here and stare at this weird puppet talking to people.
And then I'm just sobbing
because
in
I
the
think
corner.
Because I think I'm better than you.
Mm.
Yeah, that's true. If it was the right vibe, I mean, I guess, hanging out with people at, like, writing cons and stuff is the same idea, but, not awful, so.
Yeah, see, to me, writing cons sound awesome. That sounds fun.
Totally come hang out with us at StokerCon or something.
I should. Steve said
You totally should. It was fun last year. Hopefully Max is going to come this year, too, supposedly.
Yeah. Oh, man. Good times. They're always a trip. Okay, jumping back to the movie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, like, the weird dreamy nightmare bits, because that's where, like, the real horror starts coming in. She starts losing that losing the difference between reality and her film more and more. Starts to kind of bleed into her dreams and maybe into reality, and that was, I think, some of the best stuff, because even though it was very dreamy and surreal and was kind of hard to understand what was literally happening and what wasn't, I liked that because the character also didn't understand that. It wasn't the pitfall of, like, the nightmare dream sequence or whatever, where they just wake up and everything's okay, and it was just like a fake scare. Instead it was like, hey, maybe some of this is happening to her, at least to some degree. The Ash Man climbing out of the dirt and attacking her, maybe that at least was partially true.
Yeah. That part was great. I loved it when the Ash Man just kind of rose up out of her stop motion table.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I think the scariest moment in the film by.
And then when her legs just crumpled into the mortician clay, like.
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest. I like gave an audible hell yeah when I was watching the film the first time, because I expected some merge, some thinning of the veil in between stop motion and reality, and I kind of like the Ash Man rising caught me off guard. But then when her legs crumbled, I'm like, yes, this is the scene where they do it. It's gonna be crazy. Yes.
Yeah, that definitely delivered on the premise very well, and in ways that kind of surprised me a couple of times. Like, ooh, I didn't see that part coming. I thought, just be like the puppets are attacking her or whatever. But this is a fun direction to take.
Yes.
She becomes the puppets. It's like an
Well,
Ouroboros or something.
Her nickname was Puppet.
Ooh.
There was a lot of that in there too. Like your mother said, what was it? You've never been anything, or you'll never create anything. You're just a puppet. I mean, she was mean as hell, but it fell in line with the whole theme. Like, I mean, you guys said we were going to jump around, not to cut straight to the ending again, but
that's
in the end, when she gets in the box, it was like, oh my god, she's a puppet.
Oh, that's what that meant.
I guess that's the way I interpreted it.
Yeah, that was like something I was like, wait, why is she getting in a box? And then it started rolling credits. I'm like, well, okay, we'll unpack that later. No, but that makes a lot of sense, actually. I like that a lot.
Yeah, like even the way she was staring at the little girl when she was getting into the box, maintaining eye contact, it reminded me a lot of a marionette.
Good point. I like that a lot.
Look at you. You're bringing it all together. I love it.
Yeah. It's because I just watched it. It's fresh.
I mean, I watched it yesterday, so whatever. I mean, yeah, everything that showed the behind the scenes of the stop motion process, really cool to see, how they make the puppets work, how they build them on top of the metal frames was interesting.
The armature.
Yes, that thing. Just all of that, again, was just kind of scratching that, like, oh, I love to learn about something, that I've kind of wondered about, because I think in my head it was always just like, it's a lump of clay, and it's definitely not that.
Yeah, like you grow up watching things like the Harryhausen or Gumby or other stop animation projects. And yeah, you think it's just clay, but yeah, there's like a whole skeletal structure underneath there. And one thing to touch on that real quick, the sound design in this movie. Oh my god, the sound design! Like, I noticed watching it a second time that a lot of the atmospheric sounds in the background seem to be just different pitched down or echoed recordings or clips of that little squeak of the armature. It's like the whole movie had a theme of the armature in it subconsciously with the soundtrack.
Yeah, I did keep noticing little squeaks and stuff. Yeah, I never knew when the puppetry was happening or not, because they kind of sprinkled it all throughout in a way that distorted reality very effectively.
Yeah.
And yeah, the meat sounds were real gross.
Yeah, they were.
So gross.
Ugh.
It was like squelch, moist.
Oh, but one that wasn't gross, that was kind of, I don't know, soothing almost, but like the breathing. Did you notice that? Like in some of the first scenes in the movie when she's like holding her paws, moving it 1 millimeter, like it's almost like they had a lava mic right next to her face because there was this very audible deep breath and exhale.
Oh yeah.
Which, again, it makes sense also with like the very steady, precise movements that kind of evokes that. I love that in the show notes you did refer to the sounds as being like taxidermy ASMR, which is remind me to never ever Google that, because I don't ever want to experience that.
Oh god, that is a thing somewhere, isn't it? Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, I'm sure it is, and someone like Norman Bates is probably listening to it to go to sleep at night.
And taxidermy's a boy's best friend.
Yes.
Fun fact, I had recently just watched that go for the first time because I'm a slacker and terrible like that.
It's okay. We're gonna also make fun of NJ for not watching a movie until recently. So
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming. It's fine.
But you watched it and then it blew your mind because it's amazing, right?
It was good. It was.
Yeah. All I'd ever known was the shower scene, and there's so much more to it. I mean, there's the whole thievery and espionage with the woman when she was trying to steal from this man who's a clear womanizer and douchebag who kind of deserved it. And yeah, there's a lot more to it than just the shower scene.
Yeah, the shower scene is like a third of the way through the movie, and you're like, wait, what is going to happen now?
Yeah.
That movie slaps.
I love a man in drag, especially in his mother's clothing.
Well, let me tell you about this guy, Ed Gein. He's a real lady killer.
And talk about his arts and crafts. Have you seen his nipple belt?
Ooh, I just worked that into a scene that I'm writing for my story, actually. In Sid. Yeah.
Gross.
Hell yeah.
He's torturing some people, and he slices a nipple off. It's a couple, and he slices a nipple off of each one of them. Snare does, and then as they're walking out of their murder torture shed, he stuffs the nipples into his pocket, and Sid's like, "What are you gonna do with those?" And Snare goes, "I don't know, make a belt."
Yep.
Wear it to the Met Gala. It'll be nice.
Yes.
Or
So-
for a Lady Gaga music video or something.
Actually, that tracks.
Yeah, that wouldn't even surprise me a little bit.
So I thought, returning to the movie, the body horror did really work for me. The part where the doll cuts Ella's leg and you see the epidermis and the fat and everything. That's exactly what it looks like. It was perfect.
Yeah. I've gotten a couple of deep cuts in my life, and you're absolutely right. It's like there's that little yellowy, fatty tissue and the muscle underneath it, and yes, very lifelike.
Yeah, and I love that it wasn't even so much like stabbing; it was like ripping it open.
Yeah.
Which was just really, really extra upsetting to watch. It just being torn open, torn
Like
apart.
visceral.
Ugh.
It's nasty.
And unpredictable, because I mean, with the knife, you see it coming, like, oh, they're gonna get cut. But this, it's like, Why is the little creature pushing on her leg? Is he? Oh God, he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and talk about bleeding for your art.
Haha.
See what I did there?
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing, I liked it quite a bit. You know, the unnamed girl, the little girl that Ella's talking to, is that her, like, connecting with her inner child that she had to suppress to kind of give in to her mom's, like, demands? So she's, like, kind of tapping into the well of ideas? Or is it, like, she's having some sort of psychotic break and it's, like, a complete hallucination? Or a mix?
I think it's both.
Yeah. I think it's a mix of both. I think it was like her suppressed inner child from the clear oppression from her mother for God knows how long, and also maybe a little bit of personification of self-doubt because the child always tells her what she thinks is wrong. You know, when she says, "I can do this without you," she's like, "Oh, really? What happens on the second night?" Huh? Like, it's that self-doubt and low self-esteem that a lot of artists suffer from, I think, where the girl is like the opposing force of, you are wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little bit of imposter syndrome. It's
that too.
But yeah, I think, you know, especially like my takeaway from it being, you know, a girl at that age, like that was probably when she, you know, would have first been interested in following in her mom's footsteps and then probably, you know, had ideas and wanted to make her own things and was probably just told by your mom, no, you're wrong. You have bad ideas. Instead of like letting her build her creativity, she's just like, no, you're just gonna do what I tell you. And so that was probably when her last good ideas really died. It was, you know.
It's really
So do you
tragic.
think that she was like, let's use this dead fox, and her mom was like, what the fuck? No, how about we go with this cyclops?
Probably. Yeah, I'm sure she was like, she brought a dead fox in from outside, and her mother was like, no.
But, you know, probably even before that, it was just like, I have an idea for a story, and her mom's like, no.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, admittedly, you know, a lot of kids have a lot of interest in the macabre, and so suddenly, you know, having all of that be squished, you know, and have to be pushed away and all of that, and then suddenly, you know, not reemerging until it kind of comes in little spurts, you know, and changes and grows and becomes more and more twisted as an adult. Yeah, that made a lot of sense to me. Definitely tells us a lot without directly showing us things about her mom and her relationship.
It does. Yeah, like, I think this might have been in the show notes. I'm going to steal it, but like there was, they could have expanded upon the relationship between her and her mother. But you're right, they really do a good job of show don't tell, and they just kind of, it's implied that she's got a horrible history with her mother, and they don't need to say much else about it, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded a teeny bit more, just because most of what we see of her mom being especially nasty and awful is like right as she's basically having a stroke. So we can kind of discount some of that with the, hey, people kind of lose control of themselves a little bit when that's happening. And also, then a lot of it seems to be when she's in a coma, it's kind of like what she's imagining her mom saying. And so I did have a little bit of like doubt of how much is actually her mom putting all of this on her and how much of it is what she's perceiving.
Yeah, again, with the self-deprecation, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking it was just her mother being a cold bitch, but you're right. When she's in the coma, clearly that's not her. That's her thinking of what her mother would say. So really, it's Ella, not her mother.
Yeah, and so I wouldn't have minded if we had seen a scene or two from the past or something, especially like once it becomes more clear that this is just, you know, little girl Ella. If they had shown us something more there, just because it felt like that was so pivotal to kind of unlocking this whole puzzle box of a movie. And I don't know, I wouldn't have minded just a teeny bit more to kind of make some of these connections, because I have a lot of assumptions, but I don't really know if I'm right.
Maybe there's a director's cut out there somewhere that they'll eventually release that'll have some extra scenes in it. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, we can always hope. Well, so I mean, since we're kind of moving into some of these things that maybe didn't work quite as well, should we kind of move more fully into the cons of this movie? Things that just didn't quite land.
Sure. What was the egg?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't freaking know. I'm very confused by the stupid egg.
Yeah, like, it's a metaphor. The whole movie's a metaphor, and it's full of them. But I guess it can be like
hatching an idea.
I guess. Yeah, okay. She seemed to be struggling with her own idea. Like, in the beginning when the mother says, all right, what's your idea? And she was just silent. She couldn't think of anything. Speechless. There's the word. I was speechless. I couldn't think of it.
But then shouldn't the egg have come much earlier? Because it doesn't hatch until right the very end. And then did it hatch? It was just it just kind of exploded into blood.
Yeah, I think it exploded. Although, because the Ashman, puked it up, kind of, right? And then gave it to Ella, and then she swallowed it. So, maybe the idea was, fully formed, so he's like, here, it's yours now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
But again, that's coming, 3/4 of the way through her making the movie already, so...
Yeah. Maybe it was just, one more metaphor tagged on the end, the egg is the chick or duck that spent way too much time waiting to hatch, and then when it finally hatches, it just explodes in blood. I don't know.
What if it's a xenomorph?
Maybe her brain is a microwave.
Ah, that's right. Don't microwave eggs, kids.
Yes. Yeah, I just don't have any satisfying, even solid guesses, because any idea that I have, I go, but wait, this happened then though, and so and it didn't look that much like an egg when it came out of his mouth, and so I don't know.
No, that looked more like a bouncy ball. Honestly, I didn't even realize that was the egg until you just said it now.
Yeah, looked like he had just a really greasy olive or something that he just spat out.
Yeah, this one's bad. You can have it.
Yes. Yeah, so the egg, big question about that. Let's talk about the whole subplot with Polly, the boyfriend's sister, because basically, we see early on she also works in stop animation. She seems to work at it professionally, and then she tries to steal her ideas and gets in a fight with her about it. It doesn't ever seem to go anywhere satisfying. It just seemed like it was filling space to me.
Yeah, it was something that I've seen some newer movies fall into this trap or this problem where they have too many antagonists. So, I mean, she had the little girl was kind of an antagonist, being creepy and stuff, and her mother was clearly an antagonist. But, yeah, I guess they put that on there as more of a betrayal, I suppose, or a carrot and a stick in a way. There's the hope of, I might actually be able to get my career off the ground and stop animation because I can go here, and then you're gonna do eyes today, and then she stole her idea, and yeah, so it was a dashed hope combined with an antagonist, but it didn't really need to be there, or if it was there, could they have expanded on that a little bit more,
Yeah, because other than her working at this job for one day, seeing that she stole her idea, and then fighting with her, it never paid off in any other way. It never comes back. It's never insinuated that that idea gets completed over there, or we don't know what happens next with that. It seems like Polly just kind of comes back up to help drag her out conveniently, and then get killed and be fodder for stuff. But other than just being a body that was convenient to use to make more gross puppet stuff, yeah.
It was kind of cool when she totally stabbed the shit out of her throat with the tripod, though. Kind of like poetic justice.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, yes, she was the worst, and I didn't feel bad about her dying, but yeah, it was just oh, okay, cool. I mean, made for great effect. Yes, for sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
again, it didn't feel like a puzzle piece clicking and me going, oh yes, what a satisfying arc.
I think it was. I think both her and her brother Tom. It was. Who, by the way, I totally didn't realize or like. I was watching the end credits and I saw Tom York roll up. I didn't know that was the guy who plays the brother. I'm like, wait, Radiohead was in this?
Wait, that was Tom. What?
Not that Tom York. No, it wasn't. The guy who played Tom. His name is Tom York. Yeah, I had the same reaction. Wait, Tom York was in this?
Yeah.
But anyway, tangents aside, I think Tom and Polly were. I mean, they almost kind of break the illusion a little bit and make you aware you're watching a film, for me anyway, because I look at them as tools to develop Ella's character. Like, she's this struggling artist, she's got a boyfriend who's encouraging, but they don't quite mesh on the same level. Meanwhile, he's got a sister who's also making her life difficult. It's like, yeah, I guess that could be a con, because they don't, their plots don't really work so well. And then you see them as, oh, you're just here to develop the character of Ella. Okay.
And also, zero chemistry between that couple.
Yeah.
It's like, sure, he's an attractive guy, but they don't seem to, like, actually care about each other's art or goals or ambitions or anything. He was there to be a convenient sugar daddy to stand in the way of her getting things done.
I kind of found myself wondering several times, like, how did they hook up? They don't seem to like each other at all.
Yeah.
I figured it was just like, yeah, all the artist people were just like, well, I mean, all right, want to bang?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they went to uni together.
Yeah, honestly, like, that was my best guess of how all of these people that were in their friend group that you only see come up a couple of times knew each other, was probably something like that. You know, oh yeah, we all went to this art school or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about the ending, because I felt like the very ending was kind of unsatisfying because of the way that it brought those two into the process of making the art, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, you know, she was putting herself into her art, and you know, her art was consuming her, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I loved seeing that idea being made literal.
Yes.
And it started doing that, and then she stopped because they showed up and dragged her away, and then she just used their bodies. I thought it would have been much more interesting and maybe a much more satisfying ending. And this is just me, you know, of course, having the luxury of sitting back and looking at it and going, oh yes, I'm judging this piece of art. This is how I would have done it better. But this is how I would have done it better. At least I think, to me, this would feel more satisfying, is that if they had just let her actually, you know, destroy her own leg or whatever to make the final puppets. And then, you know, the ending, you know, being something like, you know, instead of her killing them and then going into a box that's a metaphor, if they had maybe come into the apartment and instead, you know, found her dead with the complete film. You know, hey, she bled out because she literally just wrecked her entire leg, which would have been a really cool effect to you know, see them play with, because they were certainly delivering on the body horror. So I don't know, yeah, seeing like her literally destroy herself for her art more, I don't know. I felt like they could have leaned into that metaphor rather than kind of switching gears and going with a weird climbing into a box metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. They could have gone a little further with that. Like, it would have been great to see her destroy her leg that way, or, you know, just only destroy herself.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first thing that comes to mind is maybe they thought it wasn't realistic enough, as odd as that is to say about a surreal film like this.
Yeah.
But, like, she would have bled out way too quick if she completely removed her leg. The way they had it, she just took out a piece of muscle, which... The first time I saw that scene, the first thing I thought was, well, good luck walking normal ever again. You just ripped out a tendon.
Yeah. But I wanted her to finish that job, because she like starts doing it and then she goes, oh, actually, wait, no, they're here, so I'm going to kill them on the stairs. Yeah, just like using their bodies wasn't satisfying and kind of deterred from that theme. So, I don't know. just
it
didn't
almost
quite
makes you think
land.
like, was the writer when writing this story like did they originally plan it out that way, like where she uses her leg, but then they're like, no, I want life-size puppets, so she's gonna need more meat.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
No, I agree. It would have been cooler if she just destroyed herself that way.
Yeah, just thematically, it makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
was
the
she
theme of the
trying
rest
to
of the
go
film.
with like her whole leg, or was she just trying to take some of her muscle out?
That's
I mean,
a good question.
I mean, she was doing some serious cutting, so it didn't seem like she was just going for a little piece. I think she was intending to, take as much as she needed to complete her work, and then they showed up conveniently.
Yeah. That, and I look at that as like maybe she, her intent was to get a lot of meat out of the leg, but then she gets to doing it. It's very painful, so she gets a tiny piece out, which I'm sure was still just like mind-blowingly painful.
Yeah.
And then she's like,
I
Plan B, let's kill these guys.
I mean, and considering that at that point in the movie, we kind of understand pretty clearly that the little girl is just, symbolic of who she was. I wondered if her attempt to kill her and kind of that splitting of herself could have been a way to resolve that, like that the little girl side of her is the one who's pushing her to get the job done with the leg, kind of letting her essentially her shattered psyche to divide itself up so she can separate herself from her pain to get the job done. I don't know. That's what I would have done, but that's just me.
One thing I did find interesting about the end was when she did make they were like almost life size, the larger puppets from the meat from Tom and Polly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's got human beings here to work with as material, so she totally could have just had the one of their severed heads sitting on a post, or used the skull, but she somehow made it still the same form as the small puppets with human meat. So it's like, I don't know, I just my twisted mind, I picture her like taking bits and pieces of meat and like making the still oblong shape of the Ashman head, when it's like, you got a skull right there. But yeah, sure, make it the same.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
or she could have made like an ashtray or something out of a skull.
Ah, the Ashman ashtray.
Yeah, you could market that. Brand it.
You could. I'd buy one.
I'll start smoking and then I'll buy one.
There we go. We're gonna make them more money if they listen to us, obviously.
Obviously.
Marketing. We have all the good ideas.
Oh yeah, we're geniuses.
Clearly. All masters of the field. Okay, any other cons, complaints, concerns, questions?
No, my only question. So, whenever she does use the dead fox and she, harvests its meat and whatnot for her art, I was kind of thinking about that. Is it like desecration, or is it more so like you're kind of honoring the corpse? Kind of like, like the Native Americans use all of the buffalo or whatever.
Right.
I'm gonna go with desecration.
I think it's cool.
Because
it's already dead.
I mean, I'm kind of both.
I think there's a way to do it in a way that sort of is respectful, but I don't think that was what she was doing at all.
No, I agree.
Like, she just didn't give a crap. Like, she's like, okay, cool, dead flesh. Like, it was that very detached, like, sociopathic 10-year-old sort of thing, rather than like I'm gonna use this to make something beautiful.
Like, you're
right?
honoring
There's your answer right there.
Yeah,
it's the intention. Like, the action of doing this is one way or the other, but the intention. If you just don't give a fuck and you're using it as materials to make things, sure, but yeah, it would be honoring it if you were like, this was a beautiful creature, and you make a piece of art that has some kind of detail about what kind of creature it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
That makes me feel okay. Okay, so fun fact: I made some figurines a while back that were like lizards, again for Warhammer, because big nerd over here with the Warhammers. And I made like basically undead zombie Komodo dragons, and I thought, what more perfect to use for that than dead lizards? And a few people online told me that's terrible, and I was like, no, I'm making art out of it. But yeah, looking back on it, like, did I really honor those lizards by making them undead Komodo dragons?
Yes.
Maybe
yes,
that's kind of what they wanted. Like that's what they dreamt of.
Right?
I mean,
Komodo dragons are huge. They'd be
Yeah.
they'd be stoked to be a Komodo dragon.
yeah, I would assume that the lizards would just look at that and go, what do I love most in life? It's probably, running and hissing at things. Now I get to do that forever.
Right.
With like badass armor. So, yeah.
Okay. So I was on the side of honoring the dead animals. Yes.
Yes. Elevating them, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other stuff we want to talk about with the movie before we move into our ratings?
I guess there's one extra thing. Just I love Aisling. Shit, what the hell is it again? Franciosi, I think, is how you pronounce her name. She is a great actress. Everyone was a great actor and actress, but her especially, because I recognized her from The Nightingale. She just that woman can act. She's got emotional range. Very good person.
Yeah. Yeah, she really delivered the goods. Oh, yep. Yeah, I'm looking at the IMDb. It's Tom York, but it's spelled differently. It's boring. TOM, not THOM, like Radiohead.
Yeah. Again, I was watching the credits, like, Radiohead wasn't in this. Wait a minute. Oh, okay.
I love Radiohead so much. Yeah, if you want the perfect blend of horror and Radiohead music, then just watch the newer Suspiria, because Tom York crushed it on the soundtrack.
Huh.
I didn't know
Did
that.
not know he did the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I freaking listened to it so many times while working on my horror novel. It's frankly absurd.
Huh. I think I was
Highly
just
recommend
so,
if you need to get in
like,
the zone.
I don't know, Tilda Swinton the entire time. I was just like, wow, like you're the creepy old guy, but also this chick. Like, I don't know. I found it fascinating.
She is also another very talented chameleon of an actress. I mean, God, Suspiria, the Marvel movies. We need to talk about Kevin.
Yeah. Oh.
She was Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Constantine.
Wait, was she Gabriel or no? She was another one like Balthasar. No, I think she was Gabriel.
Yeah. She was
In Constantine. Okay.
Oh man. Okay, well let's move on to our ratings now. So we're gonna first start with our Screams score. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how scary was this movie? And we'll go to you first, Chris.
I'm gonna go with a 6.5 on this one. It's it had some scary moments, like the puppets just tearing open her leg with his bare hands. That was unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah. Basically, very close to that. I would give it a 7. Yeah, the body horror stuff got me. But there's something about some real visceral body horror that's well done. So, NJ,
I go 7. I found a lot of the psychological, her slowly descending into madness pretty frightening. Just losing your grip on reality. But at the same time, you're creating something that you think is fantastic. Like, you're literally losing yourself for what you're creating.
I like that answer, because in this interview I've discovered that you and I are control freak siblings. Like, that's what's nightmarish about it, is the loss of control. Like, you losing control of your own mind. Like, no, that's my safe place. That's where I control everything.
Exactly.
which is explains why you're both creatives.
Yeah.
It's a way to channel it and kind of deal with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to Crowns. So yeah, how just as a film, how good is this movie? How much did you enjoy it just overall? Let's go just kind of backwards order. NJ.
I give it an 8. I found it to be very unique. Like I literally can't think of any other horror film that has stop motion animation. So that in itself was interesting. And I really, again, enjoyed the themes that, mental health and family legacy and all of that plays into it. Plus the creepy, weird party. I want to go there.
With the flashing lights.
Yeah.
Whitman, how about you?
I would also give it an 8. It was a solid film. Again, great acting all around. And again, God, the score. Not the score. What is the difference? The soundtrack or the score? One's the songs and one's the sounds of it.
The sound mixing stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, that stuff. That was top notch. Also, one thing I just remembered that I failed to mention in this whole thing. It was kind of a little bit like May in a way. Creepy artist girl who just needs a friend and so makes one from human body parts.
Yeah. It's if May had a boyfriend to start out with.
Yes.
And decided to give him the EBGBs.
I love your hands.
The Ghiblis. So I'm gonna go 6.5. I really liked so much about this film, but yeah, the way that the ending didn't quite thematically click together for me, it kind of took it down a notch, unfortunately. Like, I think if that ending had really clicked, I would have given it probably 7, 8, but it was so close. Like, I really want to love this, especially because I love stop motion so much that, like as soon as I heard the title of this movie, I'm like, oh, that's going to be my movie. That's going to be my jam. And it just didn't quite deliver the goods as much as I hoped it would.
I almost want to drop down to a 7 now, because I forgot about that. You're right, the ending did kind of, like, it didn't fall flat, but the ending could have been more grandiose, Yeah. Also, the box, like, I guess in her little surreal is it real life or is it the stop animation dream? There was a mention of that box at one point when she went through the wall and she was in the golden ruffle room, but other than that box was never mentioned at all in the whole movie. So all of a sudden the film is over and she's climbing it. Where the fuck did this box come from? What is this?
Yeah. It just kind of left me screaming, much like at the end of 7, what's in the box? What's up with the box?
Yeah. Or just screaming in general, because I've seen a few movies like that where it's great, and then the end, you're just like, huh?
It becomes an enigma wrapped in a mystery.
Yes.
Just so close. So freaking close. All right, well, I guess before we wrap things up, how are you both staying spooky these days? How what's something that you've consumed in the horror world that's maybe scratched an itch for you?
I saw Heretic recently. That's really good.
Oh yeah, I quite enjoyed Heretic. That is definitely on the docket to get talked about at length, especially because I was an LDS missionary. And Max was at one point as well. So we can give some interesting insight on in that. So
I bet you could. I heard, for what it's worth, they had experts that were current and previous LDS members on set when making the film.
I'll say it was pretty accurate. There was a couple of things that I'm like, wait, what? But I would say by far it was much more accurate than almost any other media portrayal of missionary work. So that was a great change of pace, and I think as a whole was a well done representation of the faith. So, but yeah, there's like a couple little weird things that I'm like, wait, what? What's up with this guy? But that we'll save that for a full episode in the future.
Okay.
I haven't seen it yet, so I will look forward to it.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I'm bad about spoilers. I was about to like blab 2 or 3 of them out.
Ugh. Don't make me go to
you
Florida
definitely
and
need to
beat
see
you.
Well, it's good. It's definitely worth your time. I'm excited to tackle it on the podcast before too long. So I've been playing the Silent Hill 2 remake. It is intense. I have long loved Silent Hill. Silent Hill 2 is like, an all-time great game. Just one of my all-time favorites. And so this remake, really being very faithful, but kind of upping making it playable in the modern day, where we're used to controls for video games that aren't terrible. It's really fun. It's really refreshing, and it's finding ways to up the scares in fun, interesting ways. Like, I mean, the original Silent Hill game from the PS1 era scares me still. It's brilliantly done.
It's effective.
Yeah. This game though, I am getting closer and closer to the unveiling of Pyramid Head, and I keep psyching myself out and going, actually, you know what? I'm good for tonight. I can't do this.
You know it's coming. You're just like, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was like, hey, should I keep playing? Actually, you know what? Ghost of Tsushima is calling my name because I don't want to face Pyramid Head tonight. I'm not ready for that.
Is Ghost of Tsushima a less scary game, or is it not scary at all? Because it'd be funny if your escape from this game is just a slightly less scary game.
Oh, no, this one's like a samurai game, so
okay.
Very not scary, just a really beautifully done game. That's very epic in scope. Highly recommended, but yeah, not horror at all. But I mean, I have actually also put another horror game in the rotation as well to take the edge off of the Silent Hill stuff. But that game is not remotely as scary because few things are. NJ, what how have you been staying spooky?
So I'd like to preface this first by saying I grew up in Colorado. We were very landlocked, and the ocean was a very abstract idea for me until maybe middle school when I actually saw it. So I had never seen Jaws, and finally decided to get my shit together and watch it. I know.
What?
No, good for you. Good for you. You finally did it. I finally watched Psycho, and you finally watched Jaws. Also, shame on you.
I know.
Yes, because Jaws is like a perfect movie.
I blame my mom because she's the one that introduced all those movies to me. But I highly enjoyed it, and I thought that the animatronics held up pretty well, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For the time, they were pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's and it's definitely one of those weird movies where the movie is better than the book. Don't ever read Jaws; it sucks.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Oh, so trashy. But not in a fun way. It's just hey, want to just read half the book being about some weird affair from Chief Brody's wife with the scientist guy.
I actually started reading, I don't think it was Creature, or it was White Shark was another Peter Benchley book, and yeah, I found it I didn't finish it. It was really boring.
Yeah, I think he is someone who has better ideas than execution. I don't think he's a very skilled, in his prose, and yeah, he really leaned into I'm just going to write a really trashy book about a shark attacking people, and Spielberg took that and went, hey, but what if we made this a piece of just high art and really just made it a masterpiece. So
yeah, it would have terrified me from the ocean. It was very effective in that.
Yeah.
Man, I want to watch it on the ocean. That'd be so fun.
Oh.
You're just asking for it.
I know, right?
I don't know. That just sounds like a good time to me.
Like a great white's just gonna be like eat and like right on their boat and eat you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I'm all about like that like immersive movie watching experience. I also really want to watch The Descent in a cave.
See, I love that movie and I love that idea, but I also would never, ever, ever go caving, especially in one of those things where it's like, yeah, you're gonna crawl in this hole that's the width of you.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah, no, it wouldn't be like a small cave because one, I'm a big man, and two, I also don't handle crawling through something like that very well. But even just to evoke the ambiance.
Yeah, I could get down with watching The Descent in a cave. That'd be cool, especially with like the echoing of it,
Mm-hmm.
or you could use a projector and project it onto the cave wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, see, I would like to watch The Descent with Lena Headley. That's how I would immerse myself in it.
Why not both?
I'll send her a message on Twitter and see how it shakes out.
Yeah, it'll be the first big event for Scream Kings.
Yeah. Other than
Watch The
Devon
Descent
Sawa
with
retweeting me.
Well, and then following you.
Yeah, I'm still.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, congratulations to you. That's awesome.
Thank you. I'm probably gonna put it on my resume.
I mean, you should.
If you ever meet him in person, you gotta say, you know what, man? You are Jesus. Deep cut.
I would appreciate that.
Can do. I will do that 100% whenever I show up at his house.
I'm sure your wife will be thrilled.
Nah, she's used to it. You've met her, you know.
That's true.
So,
any other stuff you wanted to highlight? I see that you had another title also on your Staying Spooky.
Meh, I'm done.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Well, before we say goodbye, where can people find you, Chris? Where can people get more of this good content of yours?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for asking. Once again, I do the two things mainly. I do the podcast with my friend Steve, and that is on horrormakesushappy.com. We are on Facebook, X still, although migrating to Blue Sky like many others, IG, all the other social medias. And as far as Pieces, you can find that on piecesofflesh.com. And I'm also on Facebook, IG, Blue Sky, and X on that, which I think is like facebook.com/piecesoflesh. But there's search bars in all these things, so you can just search for it. I'm the only one on there labeled Pieces, I'm sure.
Well, I'm following you right now on Blue Sky, so
Thank
you. I think you're my second follower because I just signed up for it, and I've been super lazy about like keeping track of it. So thank you for that. That's gonna help.
Mwaha. Actually, you have 65 followers.
Wow, how'd that happen? Again, I've been slacking on it. I haven't been checking on it. Nice.
All right. Well, yeah, everyone should definitely check out Pieces. Everyone should check out, Horror Makes Us Happy. Both definitely worth your time. If you like us, then you'll definitely like those, both of those things. And I guess without anything else to say, let's just wrap this up with Stay Spooky.
Stay spooky.